I am Rick Brandenburg. I am a peanut and pest management specialist at North Carolina State University. We do a lot of work throughout the African continent, focusing primarily on in-the-field production because we know that's where aflatoxin begins. As soon as the crop is planted in the field, as environmental conditions get favorable, the fungus will actually grow on the plant, and then as it's harvested and dried and stored, it will continue to increase. So we work with in-field production of coming up with research technologies basically to improve plant health. Well, we look first at looking at their standard production practices, which oftentimes have been passed down through many years because they're relatively low risk in their subsistence system, but they don't always lend themselves to low aflatoxin levels. So we look at opportunities to make small incremental interventions that we can improve their yield, improve potentially their profit, and at the same time be reducing aflatoxin risk. Well, the aflatoxin risk usually goes up late in the season. In many of these systems, they begin to plant soon after the rains begin, and then sometime mid to late season, the rains discontinue. The actual fungus, the aspergillus, grows under hot, dry conditions. So as we get towards the end of the season, it gets hotter and drier. The conditions will prevail that actually are favorable for the production of this fungus. So what we like to do is to go into mid to late season with a very healthy plant, and then we look for opportunities that we can continue to put interventions in that while the conditions are favorable for the fungus, we try to enhance plant health so that the fungus really can't make any inroads and increase in its level. From an in-the-field perspective, aflatoxin is usually very scattered throughout the field. You could take a sample in one location and find very high levels, and go over just a very short distance away and find very small indications of it. So the contamination will vary in the field. So usually it's not like the whole crop is absolutely overwhelmed with the fungus. But what we can do, one of the key things we can do is timely harvest. The longer you leave it in the field, once the crop is actually mature, the aflatoxin levels will increase. And then as soon as we harvest it, as quickly as we can begin to dry the crop down to where we get it down to about 7% moisture, that really stops the further development of the contamination. And then when we go into storage, we also want to make sure that the moisture levels remain fairly low, because once we let them creep back up, the fungus will continue to spread and the contamination level will increase dramatically. Well, probably the most common location where we see the contamination level increase the most dramatically is in storage. If you have a low level as the crop is harvested and dried, but you put it into an environment where the environmental conditions are appropriate for growth, it will just essentially, you can see a whole crop contaminated when it's in storage. And aflatoxin, or the aspergillus fungus, which causes the aflatoxin, it's a very unique fungus in that most fungi like cooler, more moist conditions, and this one actually likes hotter, drier conditions, and it is able to survive and really increase when conditions get out of the favorable range for other fungi. So it's kind of released from any competition, and it increases. So storage is really one of the most important moments if you really want to have an impact on aflatoxin contamination. If you do it right, you can hold it in check. If you do it improperly, the contamination can increase very dramatically.